Hi everyone, it's Elliot from TutorialEdge.net, and in this tutorial we're going to be covering Python Decorators. Now, more specifically, we're going to be covering all the various attributes of the Python programming language that make writing decorators fairly simple, and then we're going to cover some cool examples as to how you can use decorators to improve the performance of some types of application. So let's dive in. Now, decorators are a really cool concept that allow you to add additional bits of functionality to various functions in classes within Python. Now, if you're coming from a Java background, then you may have used decorators a lot in frameworks such as Spring and Jersey. Now, if you're coming from a pure Python background, then you may have seen decorators feature in frameworks such as Flask. Now, in Flask, as you can see here, you would typically define a function and then decorate it with things such as the root. Now, in this example, we have a simple Hello World application in Flask that is decorated with the /root. So, how do we write our own decorators? Well, in Python, it turns out it's surprisingly simple. Now, in Python, functions in classes are considered first-class citizens. Now, this essentially means that they can be treated the same as you would treat variables or objects within your Python applications. And this allows us to do cool things like pass one function as an argument into another function like so. Now let's see what this means in a real example. So in this example, as you can see, I've defined the my function, which simply prints out hello. Right below that, I've also defined another function, which takes in an argument called function and prints it out. Now finally, we then just call another function, passing in our original function definition. Now the result of this is that it prints out that the my function passed in is indeed a function in Python. Awesome. Now that we've covered this concept of first-class citizens in Python and how functions can be passed to other functions, let's see how we can use this feature to define our own simple decorators in Python. Now in this example, we're going to be defining the mutate decorator, which is effectively going to do the job of wrapping a function call in two different print statements so that we can effectively see how and when that function has started executing and when it has finished executing. Now, in order to define this decorator, we're going to have to define the function for that decorator. Now, in this case, it's going to be called mutate, and it's going to take in a single argument just like in our last example. And then within the body of this function, we are actually going to define a new function, and this is going to be called def new method, which is going to take in args and keyword args. Now within the body of this new method, we are going to first print out executing method, call the method that is passed in with the args and keyword args passed through to it, and then print out finished executing method before then returning this new method at the bottom of our mutate function. Now this is actually all we need in order to define a new decorator in Python. And we can put it into practice by adding the @mutate annotation to above any of the functions that we wish to decorate like so. Now as you can see, we've not changed any of the body of my function, and then when we go to call my function, let's see what happens. So when we actually execute this program, we should see that the my function call to print out hello world has been successfully wrapped with executing method and then finished executing method. Awesome. Now there is a slight problem with this technique. Now when we define decorators like we have just there, you may notice an unintended side effect where the function has been renamed to that of the decorator when we call repr and the function name. Now this is a loss of traceability and can mess up some of the debugging tools that are incorporated into many Python IDEs. Now the solution to this particular side effect is to use something called functools, which is a module that has been built into Python. Now we can extend our existing code and we can import the functools package, like so, just at the top. And then within the body of our mutate function, we want to call @wraps and method. And this will effectively ensure that any of the metadata around our function is preserved going forward. Now when we then call this again with the new functools implementation, you'll see that it has preserved the name of the function when we call repr. Awesome. So that's all in this 5-minute tutorial. Now we've managed to cover a number of key things that you'll need to know when working with decorators in Python. We've covered the fact that Python has functions as first-class citizens, and we've also looked at how you could effectively create your own really simple decorators in Python using just the standard approach and the functools approach. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments section down below, and like and subscribe for more programming content. Cheers!